Hello everyone, it's Lauren. Today I am going to be reading the 8th chapter of Mistaken Identity. This chapter is written by my friend Pearl, so let's get into it. Chapter 8, Isabelle. Sneaker strains at her leash as I walk her down the busy sidewalk. The fast-falling rain makes soft pitter-patting sounds on my umbrella. Earlier this morning, I had woken up thinking I would walk straight over to Brielle's house to see her. But my parents had other ideas. They told me that first off, I would sit down and have some breakfast. Secondly, I couldn't go visit Brielle until at least 10 o'clock, as I thought Brielle and her parents would want to have a quiet morning at home to recover from their ordeal. And thirdly, I wouldn't be able to go anywhere by myself for a while. They said that they didn't want me to run off again. I couldn't really argue with anything they said. I knew it would be better to eat breakfast first, to let the Ryans have a relaxing morning at home, and I understood why they wouldn't let me go anywhere by myself for a while, but it didn't make any easier to wait. Thankfully, I was able to busy myself until 10 o'clock, at which time I found my mom so we could walk to Brielle's house. Now here we are, walking down a crowded sidewalk of Paris, me walking sneakers and my mom walking closely beside me. I tightly clutch the handle of my umbrella, while also trying not to lose my grip on Sneaker's leash. People rush past me on all sides, holding umbrellas or wearing raincoats to shield them from the steady downpour. We finally make it to Brielle's apartment building and climb the 3 flights of stairs to the floor they live on. I try to shake some water off myself while my mom rings the doorbell. After a minute, I hear quick footsteps coming towards the door, and then Mrs. Ryan slowly opens it. I'm shocked when I see her face. Her eyes are red and puffy from crying, and there's not a hint of the smile that's usually on her face. "Ellen, Isabelle, what are you doing here?" she says, sounding surprised to see us. That's also unusual, as I stop by their house all the time. "Of course, Isabelle wanted to come by and see how Brielle was doing," my mom says, looking a little puzzled also. "But look, if this isn't a good time, we can always come back later or another day," my mom suggests. Mrs. Ryan shakes her head and sniffles. "Brielle isn't here," she says, looking forlorn. "Eric and I enrolled her in a boarding school in the south of France. She left earlier this morning. There's more, but I'm no longer listening." "Brielle? Gone? Boarding school? I don't want to believe it. How could this happen? I didn't even get to say goodbye. How could her parents do this to her?" Mrs. Ryan is saying something about how Brielle had run away with some strange boy. "That's so not true. I took Brielle to Paris Fashion Week. I'm the reason she got sent to boarding school. I took her away. The strange boy she's talking about must be someone Brielle met after we got separated. But I know that she wouldn't run away with some random guy." Sneakers paws at my leg, but I can't do anything right now. I'm too perplexed, sad, and stunned to react. Any tears I could have cried were all used up yesterday. My mom says something about how much we'll miss Brielle, or something along those lines, then says goodbye. I follow her back down the stairs, dazed. We get back to our apartment, and I dry Sneakers off and change all of my wet clothes. I plop down on the window seat in my room and gaze down at the street below. I watch the colorful umbrellas bob by. They swirl around each other like a painting. This is usually my favorite spot to sit, especially on rainy days. But right now, I feel restless and antsy. My mind is too busy devising a plan on how I can see Brielle at least one more time before we're separated for who knows how long. I suddenly come up with an idea and jump up to find my parents. "Mom, do you think we could go visit Brielle at her boarding school?" I blurt out, a pleading look in my eyes. She looks thoughtful. "Well, I know it must be tough for you not being able to say goodbye," my mom reflects, sounding sympathetic. "But let me talk to your father first." She leaves the room in search of my dad. A few minutes later, I peek in on them as they quietly converse in the living room. "So she didn't get to even see her?" my dad asks my mom. She shakes her head no. My dad taps his fingers on the table like he always does when he's thinking. "I suppose we could stay at an inn for a few days near Brielle's school," I hear my mom suggesting. "And Isabelle can take her schoolwork with us," she points out. My dad nods his head. "All right, that's fine. We can do that," he says, and then pulls out his laptop. "I'll look into lodging." I silently celebrate as I tiptoe away to my room. An hour later, all the arrangements have been made. We've rented a vacation house several minutes from Brielle's school. Our train leaves this afternoon. I pack a small suitcase as my mom secures a dog sitter for Sneakers. It's late in the afternoon by the time we reach the train station, but at least it stopped raining. I stick close to my parents as I navigate through the bustling station. We finally get to the right train and settle into one of the cars. I'm so tired, I drift to sleep during the 3-hour trip. When I wake up, the train is slowing down, and my parents tell me that we've arrived at our destination. I grab my suitcase as the train comes to a complete stop, and we step out on the platform of the train station. I check my watch as my dad hails a taxi. It's almost 6 o'clock. Half an hour later, we arrive at the rental house. We get settled in and then make the walk to the school. The 2 giant iron gates leading up to the massive stone building stand open, and inside the gates, kids of all ages roam around the schoolyard. My mom has a meeting with the superintendent of the school, so we can track down Brielle. She uses a map of the campus to find his office. This is a huge school. There's one main building located in the center of the campus with several outbuildings scattered about. We make our way towards the main building and are greeted by the secretary. This will just take a minute, my mom says, as the secretary escorts her and my dad into the building. I'm left standing outside. Suddenly, I see a tall boy with brown hair walking by. I stare at him for a minute. Why does he look so familiar? Then it hits me. It's Tyler. I don't want to make a scene by calling or waving to him, so I run after him and tap him on the shoulder. Tyler, I say. He turns around and stares at me as if he doesn't believe his eyes. Isabelle, he asks. I nod my head. Yeah, hi, I say. It's kind of awkward seeing him again. I still feel partially responsible for getting him sent to boarding school. What are you doing here? He asks, still looking as if he can't quite believe it's me. Did you get sent to boarding school? I shake my head. Actually, my parents and I are here to see Brielle, I state. Now he looks really confused. Brielle? He asks as he starts walking again. I nod. Why'd you come here to see her? He asks me. Because Brielle's parents sent her to boarding school for running away with some strange boy. I inform him. What? He explains. But that's not what happened. I stop walking. You know what happened? I asked. Yeah, I was on school break when she showed up at our house with... Oh, never mind. It's a long story. But Brielle isn't here, he emphatically states. What? I say a little louder than I mean to. At least I haven't seen her. I was actually giving a campus tour to the few new kids today, so she can't be here, he says, looking puzzled. Do you have any idea where she is? I ask. He shakes his head, and I sigh heavily and stare at the ground. I'm about to go find my parents when I hear someone call out, Tyler! Tyler whips around, and we see a boy who I don't recognize running across the grass towards us, pushing his golden blonde hair out of his eyes. Tyler's eyes widen upon seeing the guy. It is Tyler, right? Tyler nods his head. Hayden, he asks. Hayden nods his head, and then looks over at me. Sorry, am I interrupting something? He asks. I shake my head no. Tyler introduces me as Brielle's best friend. Oh, so this kid knows Brielle. He must be the strange boy that Brielle's mom was talking about. So, you're the gal who climbed the fire escape with Brielle, he says with a smile that could melt a person. Yeah, I am, I say slowly. Who are you? I met Brielle yesterday, he says, and I came here to find her. That's why we're here too, I say. But evidently, she doesn't go to this school. Hayden looks shocked. Then what school does she go to? We don't know, Tyler says. But I think I might have an idea of where she is. Hayden and I stare at him questioningly. There's another school a few hours away from here called Queen's Academy. Maybe that's the school she's at? I nod slowly, taking it in. Yeah, it sounds like it could be easily mistaken for King's Academy, I say. Just then my mom and dad walk out of the building looking for me. I wave at them and they hurry towards us looking confused. Brielle's not enrolled here, my mom blurts out. She recognizes Tyler and probably takes Hayden to be one of his friends. My dad fumbles with his phone and sighs. He heads towards the gate, lost in thought. Come on, Isabelle, we need to get back to the house before it gets dark, my mom says, following after my dad. I turn to Tyler. What's a good time to meet tomorrow? We've got some scheming to do. 12 p.m. That's our lunch break, Tyler says, then motions to the big oak tree in the middle of the front lawn. I nod and then turn to catch up with my parents. That was the 8th chapter of A Mistaken Identity. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've not already subscribed to my channel, then please do. Also, if you've not watched my last video, then click up here. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great week.